labor leaders, and we consult with them on an ongoing basis, because we know that as government we cannot. They also know that they cannot solve whatever problems that they are having alone, so we've got to work together. So that is where confidence resides, and that is where it arises.
Okay. And are you still committed to a second term as president?
Well, I am in my second term as president of the ANC, and the ANC is going to win the next elections.
Fantastic.
So,
do you know all for the inquiry and who is the retired judge that's going to be a...
well, we are finalizing all that, and we will make all the necessary announcements in due course, in fact, shortly. And the timeline is a very matter, so that there is certainty on everybody's part. So we are going to be making announcements in that regard soonest.
Mr. President, just one question for the SABC.
Yes, ma'am.
You just made an assurance that you would, government would reduce shedding soon.
Yes.
But yesterday we were told by ESCOM ourselves for stage 8 load shedding this coming winter.
Yes, I mean, we are going to have a difficult winter, and we are addressing the challenge of load shedding. And that is why I appointed a Minister of Electricity, as I said, who's working on this matter day in and day out, every hour of the day. And we are going to have ups and downs with regards to load shedding, because our generation units are old and they keep breaking up, and they are being repaired, and we are maintaining them. And the renewable generation is coming into its own. So whilst we are going to have a difficult winter, but we are going to address load shedding.
Thank you, guys.
No, I'm looking for it. Where is that book? I have a great interest in reading it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course, let's just go back. That was President Cyril Ramaphosa just responding to some media inquiries there. Of course, you heard that assurance from the president. Excuse me, ma'am. You heard that assurance from the president while addressing the community here, saying that load shedding will be, reduced in the next few months, if not by the end of the year. But we heard there from ESCOM that South Africans should actually brace themselves for, stage 8 load shedding. And of course, the president also responding there, saying that it will be a tough winter. South Africans need to brace themselves, but of course they are tasked, to this issue of dealing with the load shedding crisis. Also, just earlier on, he dealt with a number of issues that were raised by the communities here, issues of substance abuse, of course, service delivery, job unemployment, the issue, of land, which is a very contentious one, and a number of issues, and of course the various ministers also responding there to the various grievances that were actually raised here. But I think what's very interesting with this presidential imbizo is that you have a national government that is actually leading it. You have a provincial DA-led government, of course, local government of the DA. So it was quite interesting to see the synergy between, the two, forms of government, or actually the three forms of government. And, just throughout the day, talking to various leaders, they have been saying that, listen, we need to put politics aside, our political ideologies aside, and work for the greater good of the community here. But it's also quite interesting to note that as Premier Alan Wendy, who's a member of the DA, sat alongside the president, the leader of the ANC, it was quite interesting to note that it seems as if the provincial government actually wants to de-link itself, from national government, and that we've heard the provincial government here in the Western Cape saying that they want their own passenger rail agency. They've actually applied for that, and of course they want to, have their own power supply. But this is as the Premier of the Western Cape had said that they're working hand in hand with national government to ensure that the needs of the people here in the Western Cape, and specifically in this district, are actually, addressed. So these are just some of, the main tenets that came out of the 6th installment of this presidential imbizo. Of course, the 7th installment of the presidential imbizo will be heading to KZN in June in Ladysmith. But actually, let's just perhaps hear from the people on the ground. I see Mama is very eager to talk. Mama, uvile ukuthi president what the president had to say, uvile nama minister ukuthi atheni when ukhuthela, are you happy with the promises that were given by the president and by ama minister?
Okay. Ewe sisi wami wethu ndijabule kakhulu ngokufika kukamongameli apha kweli cala lase Western Cape. Sinalo ithemba noko ethe wanyathela. Ngoku sinalo ithemba lokuba kuzawutshintsha. Sinalo elo themba sisi wami kakhulu.
Mama, ikhalo zakho when just engaging no president and nabaholi bakhe, what were your demands or your grievances as umuntu ohlala ngapha?
Mna i-demands zam zizindlu. Kwindawo endihlala kuyo, we feel like we are Nigerians, we are coming from another country because asihoyekanga kwindawo esihlala kuyo, asinazindlu. So kuloko ndithi ke ngoku uRamaphosa naye ngobuso funeka enze utshintsho kwindawo yaseBoland, eBonneville isikakhulu. I'm coming from Bonneville mna. Ward 8. So ndiyamcela uRamaphosa azajonge phayana, ndizifakile izikhalazo kulamaphepha. Ajonge nethi phayana, ndafaka nefone number, xa enondifowunela ndimkhumbuze utata uRamaphosa ngoba xa bemkile apha bayalibala. Xa befika phayana balibale kuphele kuthi tu. Kodwa xa funeka siphinde saphakama sivote baphinde babuye ngoba ngoku siye kuvoteni. Kodwa sinelo themba ke sisi uba kuzawutshintsha.
Okay. Let me just quickly go to this gentleman. So I saw you in the line raising your grievances, also interacting with the president. You're from Stellenbosch, and of course you raised the issue of electricity.
Yeah, so I'm busy with my doctorates in electronic engineering. So obviously electricity, I know a lot about it. I understand the concepts, I understand all the problems, and I also understand the solutions that you're trying to propose. And my biggest gripe is just that they're too heavily involved in international investments, and it's not even electricity, this is everywhere, and not enough in the local investments because we have solutions.
So you're suggesting African solutions for African problems. I heard you talk about gas there earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a talk about gas in the Karoo, and then there's a whole fracking issue with climate change and all that kind of stuff. But at the moment, we are talking to Russia to import gas when we have our own gas. Now we're going to pay Russia billions and billions and be on their turf, and then they want to start a war, and then we're on their side all of a sudden, and we can't have that. And so just weigh up all the solutions, in my opinion.
Do you think that this Imbizo was effective?
First time I've ever seen something like this. Very cool. I do think there is a notion of just leave breadcrumbs for communities, then they eat and then they're hungry again for 4 years. I hope that's not the case. I believe in President Ramaphosa, I really do, and I think he's trying his best in what he can.
Okay, let's also get other views. Tata Uvile, ngicela uthethe wena. Are you happy? Do you think ukuthi le Imbizo le
ngiyaqala ukufuna ipresident njengaye. Those who have changes in the nanengxaki ye-transport i-train abantu banengxaki ye-transport ziyadelay i-train zinengxaki yeziporo zimoshwayo nee-cables biwa ii-cables zabiwa ziswakachicks zibhembu chicks nabaphathi bethu akho serious xa ngumphathi ufolowe nabantu alokhathi i-cable sonosibham ndiyayazi loo nto xa ndithethe ndingavela ndingagxothwa nogxothwa isibani zinengxaki zinto abantu kuthiwa i-train ekanani iphelile ufumana itrain nga-3 ngelo ke lo mntu ulinde itrain anoniyagxotha imisebenzi ngenxa yedelay itrain.
Wena sisi
ndinomathamsanqa tinana apha eDrakenstein ndithethela malunga nombane. Umbane siyawucinyelwa eDrakenstein funeka sirente kayi-4 enyangeni. Enye ingxaki yabantu abangaphangeliyo, awukho umsebenzi, kuthathwa abantu abathile, abantu bebala isikakhulu, thina abantu bamnyama asithathwa. Iphinde enye ingxaki endinayo eDrakenstein, ikhona indawo eWellington apha eNew Rest, kukho amatyotyombe akhoyo apha kurailway, aba bantu basafuna izindlu abanazindlu. Enkosi.
Ucanga ukuthi kuzoba noshintsho since upresident uMngameli unzwile?
Ndiyathemba luzaba khona utshintsho sisi ngoba upresident uze ngokwakhe inoba uzazimamela ingxaki zethu ngoba kudala sikhalaza kwamasipala, umasipala akasihoyi.
But do you share the same sentiments? Do you think that this Imbizo was effective and that your cries have not fallen on deaf ears?
Yes, I think it was effective, and I think we can appreciate what the president have done for us. And what I wanted to say personally to the president, although I cannot reach to him, is that we as a Rastafari community, we feel grateful for the acknowledgement of Rastafari, rising of INI people and the honor which he give Peter Tosh on TV, which show us that the national order, which show us that we are respected, and that act of him is something which uplift us and make us more feel free to practice our culture, our.
Unfortunately, because of time, I need to wrap. But thank you so much.
Okay,
We get the gist of what you were trying to say. Thank you so much. And of course, various views. Thank you. Various views from various community members that actually took their plight to the doorstep of government. The first citizen of the country has heard them. He has promised to address these issues, also saying that action needs to be taken now. And of course, this as we wrap up the Presidential Imbizo, the 6th installment of the Presidential Imbizo here in the Western Cape. From me, Natasha Phiri, the team here, and of course my camera operator, my colleague Thabo Mtheni, is back to you in studio.